South America. A country full of secrets, old cultures, and a place of longing for many people from the West searching for the meaning of life. A tribe long forgotten and oppressed, the Qéros on their quest for their destiny and the power of their ancestor, the Inca. We had not wanted to be heroes or learn about their sacred rituals. We had merely accepted their invitation to make their voices heard, to give them the opportunity to tell the world what they have left, their knowledge about the energy of healing for their tribe, their country, and our planet. Huanoquita in south-central Peru, an about 3-hour drive from Cusco. 1,500 people live here at an altitude of about 3,400 meters. Huanoquita is part of the district with the same name and seat of the local administration. Like in many other regions of Peru and South America, people try to balance traditional and modern lives at every corner. Ivan Alcagaldos lives in Huanoquita. He knows about this balancing act between the cultures. One part of his family originates from the Inca tradition and the other part has Spanish roots. He has created a special place on his family's property. The name of this project is Hampinayachta, that means place of healing. And there I built Hampinawasi, a house of healing. The property includes an organic vegetable garden for self-sufficiency, but also a few huts and bedrooms for guests. Formerly, there was just his parents' single-story house. Everything started 20 years ago with a vision. I was 18 years old when I had a vision. The property and the house belong to my family. Here we can all work together in harmony, and that makes me very happy. Of course, his mother keeps a firm grip on the kitchen of the house, Mama Libia. Ivan studied agricultural science. He lived and worked in Germany for some years. Together with his German wife Magdalena, he has a son. Years ago, he gave up his job to dedicate his life to the preservation of the traditions of his culture. The actual purpose of this place, though, is that of healing. Hampinayachta is a place to seek refuge and work for the Qéros, the descendants of the Incas that were despised by the government of Peru for a long time. Here they can work with the people and practice their rituals in a safe environment, something that is still forbidden in public in Peru. Victoria, a very powerful shaman and healer, to whose deceased husband Nicholas this film is dedicated, lives here with her 6 children. Without Yvonne's help and the donations from abroad, she would have been homeless after her husband's death.
Die Qéros als Priester, die Qéros als Energiearbeiter brauchen Platz.
The Qéros as priests, the Qéros as energy workers need space. Unfortunately, we are not allowed to work in Cusco.
Jetzt kommen nach Cusco.
Tourists come to Cusco, at the moment 3 million per year. They need space, and this space that once was for the Qéros doesn't exist anymore. The Qéros need space to work, but they don't find that in Cusco anymore. They work in a room, in a hotel, or in a corner. I think that's uncomfortable and just not right.
Und das finde ich nicht so bequem und nicht so richtig.
On the border of the property there is the healing hut of Antbineachta. Regularly natives and foreigners come here asking the Qéros for advice and healing work. The beginning of each ritual, the cleaning of your own energy by concentrated flower water with a wonderful smell. The people of the cities lack the energy of the Apus, the big ghosts of the mountains, and lost the connection to the earth. That's why they are sick. That's not good. I think everywhere in the world there is dark energy. We call this kind of energy atraso, but it comes from the people themselves. People want to have food that is not natural anymore. They want to have several partners. They always want to have things they actually don't need, and that produces dark, bad energy. One of the sacred plants of the Qéros is coca. The leaves are chewed for strengthening. With their help, the good spirits are invoked and consulted. No work is done without throwing and interpreting coca leaves before. That day it is done for a traveler from Europe.
Deine Körper ist in Ordnung.
Your body is physically all right, but your body and soul are weak. The situation is that you are sad, and this sadness has a reason. The reason is an unseen enemy.
Die Grund ist Feind.
You and your family and your ancestors have an enemy.
Deine Familie oder deine vergangene Zeit hatte
This enemy has cursed you,
einen Feind.
and that is the reason.
Hat geschickt wie ein Fluch. Und das ist die Grund.
Out of respect, we didn't film the following ritual where the negative energy was caught and finally burned in the fire. Some days later, however, the woman told us that her symptoms had disappeared. Healing with intention and rituals that are thousands of years old. But where does this power come from? The Qéros say it is the power of Pachamama, the earth, the Apus, the mountain spirits, who receive their energy from the cosmos, and the Inca. The Qéros see themselves as descendants of the legendary god kings whose culture dates back thousands of years and has left behind inconceivable buildings that, contrary to popular history and common sense, cannot have been built with hammer and copper chisel. How they could have done that remains unanswered, just like with countless other ancient monumental buildings worldwide. As any other indigenous culture of North and South America, the Inca Empire found a sad ending when it was conquered and indigenous people were slaughtered by the European and Christian obsession of power. In 1533, Atahualpa, the last Inca king, was strangled after being imprisoned for months, being baptized against his will, and although ransom had been paid. Today, The statue of Pachacutec, the ninth ruler in the heart of Cusco, still shows the glory of the past of the ancient empire, and according to legend, the power of the Inca will return. The Qéros are on a quest to find this power. But what do they need for this? Which rituals have to be performed? Is it possible that the old priests of the Incas, the Altomisas and the Pantomisas, will finally return? I think the old power of the Altomisas won't return like that. I observe that the snow in the mountains disappears more and more every year. There's also a lot of pollution because of chemicals, and that is not good. Maybe the old power will return if we fight against this pollution all over the world. Then there might be a chance. The power of the Inca is not just derived from culture, but from knowledge. The knowledge passed on by the Inca includes details about nutrition, for example. This power is monumental, very big. We can mention potatoes as an example. There are 3,600 kinds of potatoes in Peru. This energy, this power, that comes from the Inca. The sacred knowledge about growing food and healing people shows incredible results. Although Ivan thinks only 5 to 6% of the old power of the Inca is available to the Qéros. Only a few kilometers from his home, Ivan has initiated a second project to provide support and space for the Qéros, which they don't have anymore in most parts of the country. San Miguel. A little village is being built on a mountain owned by his family. With the support of German and Austrian groups, 7 huts where foreigners and Qéros can live and work have already been built. After the death of her husband, Victoria was accommodated here and found a new home. San Miguel is a wonderful place. An Apu, a mountain spirit, lives here, but we still have to do more energy work so that he can generate all his power. Those who climb the 4,000-meter high mountain San Miguel begin to understand the respect the Qéros have for the Apus, the mountain spirits, who generate their power out of the cosmos. The bond between humans, Mother Earth and the Apus is renewed in each ritual and each performance of shamanic work. I've known the energy of the Apus since I was a little boy. My grandparents showed me the rituals. We've always worked with them. That's why we've always had good harvests. We had corn, llamas and alpacas. The Apus are an energy living in the big mountains. Although, according to the Qéros, the mountain still needs a lot of healing work, even now people come here regularly to learn and ask for healing. When this is necessary, Ivan calls the Qéros to perform a ritual for the clients. Today, guests come from Cusco. They want to perform a ritual of harmony and a ritual for their business. Their business and family matters aren't really doing well. They want to work with their Qéros here. We have a special ritual for such problems. Even if it is hard to imagine for spiritually open-minded Europeans, not only in the Western civilization, shamanism is hardly accepted by the common public. 500 years of church history have also left their mark on the Peruvian people.
in Peru.
Most people in Peru
Meisten
think it
Leute
is
denken,
voodoo
das
or
ist,
some kind of black
Voodoo
magic.
oder schwarze Magie.
That's a big part of it.
Aber das ist eine
But
große Teil.
today there are people who
Aber
want
gibt's
the
Leute,
old
die diese
energy
brauchen
again,
diese
the power
Energie,
of the
Power
Inca.
wieder mitbringen, diese alte Kultur von Inka.
Also, before this procedure, the coca leaves are consulted. Bad energies are brought home and disorder becomes order. Some people think learning these rituals is easy. Easy rituals aren't enough anymore. You really have to connect to the earth and the Apus. In my opinion, just lighting a candle and saying a prayer is just not enough. This is too weak for really changing something. It is not profound enough. You have to put all your being into the work and the rituals. After the ritual, a sacred song invoking the power of the mountains, the Apus. This ritual too seems to have been successful. A few days after the departure of the couple, Ivan is told that their problem has vanished. It began with a mountain without water. In the meantime, the Qéros can regularly harvest on San Miguel. They refuse to buy food. It doesn't carry any energy as they claim. In the mountains, where many Qéros live at an altitude of 5,000 meters, not everything can be grown. They just harvest what they need. Here we conduct tests for future. Here the Qéros can work and tend to their fields. At an altitude of 5,000 meters, all you can grow is potatoes. But they also need lupin and corn. That's why we have to work in both regions. For some Qéros, Huanuquita has not only become their second home, but also a place where they can work with people and earn their living. How do they live in their current home at an altitude of 5,000 meters? To go there, you need the permission of the Qéros, which they granted us. But before going there, Ivan wants to show us another one of his dreams. He wants to plant those trees on Huanuquita again that were part of the original Peruvian forest. Now we are driving to Loretuyo. And now Loretuyo is an Inca wood. There is a forest in the same way as during the time of the Inca. There are approximately 12 kinds of trees. The name of these trees is Polylepis. We want to include these in our project.
Das ist, was wollen wir in unsere Projekte mitbringen.
Today, just a few square kilometers of the Inca rainforest still exist, but even that takes our breath away. Ancient original trees. Polylepis is a member of the rose family. They can grow up to an altitude of 4,800 meters. The oldest Polylepis trees that have been found are 1,500 years old. A walk through a forest that nowadays is almost one of its kind on the entire planet Earth. Again, we are allowed to witness an ancient ritual of the Qéros. Washing with the sacred water of the river. watching this, who still can insist that baptism is a Christian ritual. This kind of traditional work has become rare, and it is hard to find even in Peru. Ivan explains why.
In Cusco gibt es einen ganzen Ort.
In Cusco there is a village, it is called Vasao. There's a sign that says place of shamans, but there are no Qéros.
Es gibt keinen Qéros da.
There are just people who have learned a little from the Qéros and want to help the people that way, but they mix up two techniques,
Aber haben gemischt zwei
the
Technologien.
Inca technique and the European African technique.
Afrikanische.
The Africans came to South America as there was no slavery, and they brought voodoo with them.
Voodoo mitgebracht. Haben gemischt
They mixed up their technique with that of the Inca.
und diese Mischung
Those mixing these techniques now call themselves shamans.
Norden Peru sagen, wir sind Schamanen.
That's why clients don't want to know anything about supposed shamans.
Vielleicht treffen nur einmal. Und,
In other words,
meisten
those charlatans.
wollen nicht mehr wissen von diesen Schamanen oder diese Charlatanen, was kann man sagen.
We head on to Qéros in the province Paucatambo, the current home of the Qéros in the mountains. Only in the last century did they finally get in touch with civilization. A road or something close to that was built a few years ago. Here, approximately 5,000 descendants of the Incas live in small scattered settlements. Spontaneous tourism doesn't exist here. You have to be invited. After centuries of suppression, the Qéros keep to themselves and try not to mix their culture with others. We know our past. During the empire of the Inca, the Spanish came. Because of them, we fled into the mountains. Since then, we have been living here. Living at an altitude of 4,000 to 5,000 meters for centuries, surrounded by a universe full of vital energy, as they call it, constantly expressed in rituals in which they invoke the power of the earth and mountains in order to keep their balance and to achieve a balance in their country and on the planet again. For me, it is very important that the Qéros remain the Qéros. The pollution also comes from the people that are different. We don't want the Qéros to marry other women or that our women marry other men. That's one way to protect us. That's important to us. There's not a trace of touristic Peruvian romanticism. Barren land. Most houses are made of rock and clay, the roof covered with hard grass. Thanks to 8 programs, some houses are now equipped with solar power. They cook on a clay stove. Dried dung of their animals is used as fuel. Their basic food resources are alpacas and llamas, potatoes and corn from the lowland areas. Nothing else grows at an altitude of 5,000 meters. Still, hardly anyone wants to leave. It's their home. And following a legal amendment in the 1960s, their living space is now protected. The government has started to support us in the meantime. They have put our area under protection. Otherwise, we would have been overrun by the operators of the Peruvian gold mines. They also help us with the plastic waste you can already find here. I am sad because there is a road to Qéros now. And for the first time, illnesses have come to our village with a road. It is not as it used to be. We have always been able to protect ourselves with herbs and energy, but now it is harder. That makes me sad. I was born and raised here. We learned to connect the energy of the earth and the energy of the Apus when we were children. We have all been able to do this since we were children. That's why we haven't needed a hospital so far, and we can pass on this energy to heal people. Every time Ivan comes to visit them, he brings bread and bananas for the children, not because they are undernourished, but to motivate them to say their name in Quechua, the traditional language of the Qéros, which was forbidden by the Peruvian government for a long time. It is a playful ritual against forgetting. Like all children of the so-called Third World, particularly the children are very vulnerable to the temptations of the cities and their unreal fake realities. I don't go to Cusco or any other cities very often. Most of my life I've spent in Qéros, but each time I've been to a city I've felt the bad energy. I've also heard that from other Qéros who have been to the cities. As the day in Qéros ends, we are exhausted. But something extraordinary is yet to come. In the evening, we are allowed to witness a very special gathering. That night, 13 Qéros meet in a hut and discuss how they could help their people and the whole world with their rituals and their power. For the first time since Ivan has been visiting the Qéros and providing a place to work and life in his hometown Huanoquite, Ernesto, the leader of the tribe, comes to participate, a great honor. For the first time, Ivan has the opportunity to present his ideas of the Qéros visiting Europe, Europeans coming to Peru to work with the Qéros, and his plan for Huanoquite. After a long conversation, the chief officially agrees to the project. This is wonderful for Ivan, and he's over the moon. We talked about our duty to the world. They have the power and the tools to help. I asked him, can we work together? Can we do something better for the Qéros and also the people who want to work with the Qéros? And he told me, yes, we can do so. Work together, all together. Now I have the confirmation from the mayor. I am very happy about that. That is the first time I was able to talk to the Umalye, the leader of the Qéros. I am happy about that. We are full of hope. That was the first time. I had been trying this for 4 or 5 years and now it happened. Yes, I'm happy. That's what we talked about.
offen. Ja, das freut mich. Das haben wir geredet.
We stay in Qéros for 2 days, then we head on, accompanied by 4 shamans. We travel to one of the holiest places in Peru.
Wir fahren gerade nach Maucallachta Pumaorco.
We are driving to Maucallachta Puma Orco. For us this means the beginning. This is where everything started, everything we know as Inca culture.
Mauca bedeutet
Mauca means old.
alt. Maucallachta
Lachta means city, so it means old city or first old city.
erste alte Stadt. Und Pumaorco ist ein Apu.
Puma Orco is an Apu, that's a temple, where the first Inca worked. Manco
Wo
Cápac.
hat gearbeitet die erste Inka? Manco Cápac.
Manco Cápac worked with energy there, and from there he went to Cusco.
Mit Energie. Und dann ist nach Cusco gegangen.
Puma Orco. Those who see this rock for the first time are petrified. The concept of a natural site of power is redefined for us right at this place. It is said that the first Inca king was born right here as son of the sun god Inti. Here at this holy place, Amaru, Lorenzo, Malku and Inca are going to consult the coca leaves whether and how the power of the Inca can return to their people. The first consultation of the leaves is clear. The power is going to come back, but not the way everybody had assumed. The Qéros asked, what has to be done here? And the coca leaves said they should open the energy that is generated here. I then asked them who should do that, and they said the Qéros. But someone should help us, and that is a woman. A woman is meant to come and should perform a ritual with the Qéros here and open the energy of Puma Orco. That's how the energy of the whole world can start again. Again the leaves are consulted. When is it supposed to happen? Has the time already come? Asking, is the time for this woman already here? Coca says it has already begun. It's already time for this woman. The woman is already here. Now she has to fulfill her duty. But who's that woman? Is she a Qéros? She isn't from Peru. She doesn't come from South America. This woman comes from the east or the west. She comes from abroad. Again the leaves are consulted. The answer was not only a surprise to us. From Asia, with a great power. The time has already begun. A woman from Asia shall help the Qéros in a big ritual on this mountain to regenerate the power of the Inca for their people and the entire world. I remembered a story I read in 2012. In his book Serpent of Light, the spiritual teacher Don Valo Melchizedek speaks about the Earth's Kundalini moving from Tibet to South America. I asked the Qéros if this woman comes from Tibet. Their answer is yes. This is an important moment for the Qéros. Now they know that the time for the return of the old power has come.
Die Zeit ist schon angefangen.
What has been confirmed just now? Whether the legend you told us is true or not, and all confirmed with their coca leaves that it is true. This energy is in South America, in Peru and in Cusco. Phew, here's so much energy, I have a headache. Once again, they consult the coca leaves. Has a new age really begun? It's real. It's really like that. The Qéros say the male age, the Inca age, is already over. Now the Kolyari time, the female age, begins. For that, we need a female leader. A woman from Tibet, a new age. The return of the female power and the balance between the male and the female. We feel deep gratitude for having been able to witness this moment. Only 2 days later, the borders of Peru were closed because of the pandemic laws, and we, as all other tourists, were forced to quarantine. We therefore had to stop filming. 3 weeks later, we were evacuated in one of the last emergency flights. The Qéros retired completely in their villages in the mountains once it became clear which impact this worldwide lockdown would have. There they are waiting until what is to come will be over, so they can start searching for the woman from the east to enter the long-desired new age.